Welcome to ClientConnect Reports. A report is a tool that you can use to draw out some kind of data from your ClientConnect account. Typically, it's a way of identifying groups of your contacts. When you use a report to find common data in your contacts, for example, open home visitors, investors, senior buyers, sellers, what have you, you can then use the report to populate your list. Let's take a look at an example of a simple report. On your ClientConnect menu on the left, you've got a link called Reports. If you haven't created any reports yet, there will just be one button which says Create Report. I'm going to start a new one. We're going to use rows and columns. Don't worry about summation or matrix reports. Rows and columns is the format in which your contacts are stored in database format. So look to the right, hit the Create button for Rows and Columns Report. The report is going to look for data in your contacts, and that's the first choice, so that's what we're going to pick. As you can see, reports can be applied to a variety of other situations, but we're primarily concerned with using them to identify key contacts in your contact database. So we're going to select Contacts, then we're going to click Next, and now we get to pick our filters. Filters is the tool which allows you to dictate what search term or terms you're going to apply to your contacts. So for example, if I am attempting to build a list of my open home visitors, what I'm going to do is use my description grouping tags. And that is the section of each contact where your notes belong. Now before I go any farther, let me back up a little bit and show you an example of a contact with some notes, which we call description grouping tags. Here's one of my contacts. I'm going to click on the contact, open them up, and you can see this section called description grouping tags, which mentions open home from a certain date. So we are presuming that you have meaningful data entered into your contacts that you can use to start building these custom lists. And the reporting tool is what's going to search for this text that says open home. Let's look at another example. Got my contacts list. We've got Brian May. Click on him and look at his details. Met at open home for 789 Elm Street. So it can be phrased a number of different ways, but the key is that we have the term open home present in description grouping tags. When you run your report, you can search against other values such as tags, which say buyers or sellers, or any other field in which you have data. But description grouping tags is the best place to put this kind of information. Let's go back to the report and start fresh. Click on Create. We're going to use rows and columns because that's what our data resides, and we are looking in our contacts. So when we click Next, we get to pick which item we're going to tell the system to search for that open home data in. And there that filter is in that long list of choices. You can search by email address, you can search by name. Again, in this example, we want to find the people who say open home in their description grouping tags. So we're going to click and drag the word description grouping tags into the center of the screen. And now we get to tell it what values we want the report to look for. In the empty box, type in your specific text filter. In my case, it's going to be open home. We are looking for anybody whose descriptive grouping tags has the term open home. Now it's very important to set this correctly because the default is equals. What you're looking for in this example is the selection called contains. We're just saying anybody's description grouping tags contains the term open home as opposed to equals, which would mean it would have to say open home and nothing else. But that's not the case. You may have as much information in that description grouping tags box as you want so that you can make other reports such as their age group or what area they're looking in to buy or even a price range. Any text can be searched against. So we want anybody whose description grouping tags text contains the term open home. We're going to check this box over to the right so that the report is dynamic. That is, when you enter new contacts and you put in that value open home into description grouping tags, the report will be able to locate the newly added context. Leave the search operator alone down here and go and click on Next. So now you have the opportunity to pick your display columns, which really means just what results do you want to have display when this report's run. This isn't critical because you're not generally running the report just to look at the results. You're running the report to add the results to a list, a custom list to which you're going to send one of your campaign emails, to which I'll refer you to the listing video and the campaign video. But just so we can see what our results look like, I'm going to say show me the first name, show me the last name, and show me the description grouping tags value. No more selections are really necessary, so I'm going to click on Next. The system wants to know what order you want that information to be displayed in, which I don't think is critical. But just to make it happy, I'm going to drag in first name and last name, which is good enough. Click Next down below and give your report a name. In my case, I'm making a report that looks for the term open home, so I'm just going to call it that. Report that looks for the term open home. I could write a longer description if I needed to, but I gave it a pretty good recognizable name. So all we got to do is hit Save and Run, and that will show you what the current results are. Yeah, I get a badge for making a report. All right, so this is the result of my report. It found all these contacts, and you can see that the word open home, the term open home, does appear in each of these contacts somewhere. So the trick now is to use this report to populate one of your lists. And remember from the other video that a list is the name for a custom grouping of contacts to which you may then send campaign emails. So let's jump back to your marketing link for a second. And we're going to go to Lists, and we're going to go to Create List. So we're going to make a list that is geared towards these open home people. And as we saw in the list video, the name of the list is visible to the recipients. So we give it some sort of a bland and acceptable name. I'll call it Open Home Visitors. I don't really need a description, but this part is confidential to me. Nothing else is visible to the recipients except that name. This list is being sent from you, so I'm using my Mike Howard Demo Agent ID, mikehoward@bhghome.com. Please watch the Creating a List video for more details on making lists. And we're going to save this list, and then, of course, anytime we create a list, we have to add contacts to it. Yeah, I got another badge and a prize, but I'll close it. So as we saw in the video that regards creating a list, you can point to Add Contact, and you can select from your contacts, and you can pick them off one by one, which isn't terribly convenient when you have a lot of names you're looking for. So now that we have created this open home report, we can point to Add Contact Recruit, and we can select from Report. Click on the plus sign to see your existing reports, and I am looking for my open home report that I made a moment ago, and here it is on the second page. It's called Report that looks for the term open home. I am going to select that report, and now all those matches are pulled into this list, and added as subscribers. So now I can go to the marketing section and I can create a campaign and I can send it to my open home visitors list. And now you know how to populate a campaign using a report, which is much more efficient and automated than adding them in one by one. So remember, a report feeds a list, and the list is what you're going to send your campaign to. And we've got the additional videos, as I mentioned, for creating a list, as well as the video for creating a campaign. So do your reports, then your lists, and then send out your beautiful campaigns. That'll do it for the report section. Thanks for watching.